What were they like when they began genealogy versus today? We ask in First and Now. Meet Jim Beidler, columnist and editor. What is the first genealogy software you've ever used?
The first genealogy software I ever used, I have no idea anymore. It was on an Apple II something. It no longer exists, I'm sure of that.
And what are you using now?
What I use now is Roots Magic.
The first genealogy group you ever joined?
My first genealogy group was the Berks County Genealogical Society in, of course, Berks County, Pennsylvania.
And which genealogy groups do you belong to now?
Well, my primary loyalty as far as a genealogy group now is Genealogical Society of Pennsylvania.
What's the first oral interview you've done?
My first oral interview was with my great aunt Emily, and she talked so fast that it was difficult for me to get everything down. And no, I didn't have a tape recorder.
And what's the last oral interview you've done?
The last oral interview, not with a family member, but with Kurt Witcher professionally.
What is the first document that you found?
The first document that I found was actually a whole family Bible that was in my attic. When I went up to the attic, my mom said, "Oh, you're not going to find anything in your grandmother's trunk." And then I was rather proud that I came down with a family Bible.
And what's the last document you found?
Right now, I guess I would call a new tombstone of an ancestor on a cemetery that I thought I had gone back and forth and would never find any additional ancestors. And yet here was another one.
What was your first challenge genealogically?
I think my first challenge genealogically was trying to slow down, because I went to an old graveyard, and these old German tombstones had the mother and father's name, and I just kept going from one road to another and gaining additional ancestors right on the fly.
What's your challenge now?
My challenge now is to continue working at the Genealogical Society of Pennsylvania and bringing that society back to the point that I can retire from it.
What was the first advice you received?
Probably my first advice I received after starting genealogy was to not trust county biographical histories. Because I had no idea of evaluating evidence or anything like that. And there's this Morton Montgomery's History of Berks County that has a lot of bad information.
What advice would you give now to new researchers?
The best advice would be, yes, you may start first on the internet, but make darn sure you go to those attics and look for paper documents too.